Maximum Crisis is finally here, and to help me bring in the new set is your favorite, Robbie Boyajian. How are you doing?
Pretty good. How about you, Jerome?
I am excellent.
Great news.
You know what else is excellent is this brand new game map featuring the Spiral monsters. You got Super Agent here, Tough, Master Plan, Quick Fix, and Spy Gal Misty over there in the corner. This map is the game map that you will get when you go to this year's World Championship qualifiers. Everybody's going to get this one.
That's cool.
Now there's another one that we might see later for the top cut, but we'll leave that for later.
Yeah.
For now, what we're going to do is this. Maximum Crisis is a set that is just full of cool and amazing cards. There are just a ton of them. And depending on experience level, what kind of things you like, I might like some cards, you might like some different cards.
Yeah.
So we're going to get both perspectives on it.
I'm excited.
This is the Maximum Crisis starting hand. So this is how it works. I've got 5 cards I like for Maximum Crisis.
I have 5 as well.
So we are going to take turns telling you about them. And because this is Yu-Gi-Oh, we'll roll to see who goes first.
High, right?
High roll.
Ooh.
3. All right.
Beats my 1.
I will go first. All right, my first card is True King of All Calamities. Because I'm really good at this game, I get to have an Xyz monster in my starting hand. True King of All Calamities is kind of the culmination of the entire True King, True Draco storyline that's been going on in the sets for this past year. It's a rank 9 Xyz monster, 2 or more level 9 monsters, so you can use all 3 True Kings for it, and Mariamne if you want as well. And it is absolutely devastating. 3,000 attack and defense. It can shift the attributes of all of the monsters on the field to be whatever you want them to be, and then cards in your opponent's possession of that type can't activate their effects.
Yeah, so that's crazy powerful in terms of disruption.
It's incredibly good. Right now people are playing it mostly in the True King Dinosaur deck. They're using Lithosagem to be the first. They get something else out there. It could be a Synchro, it could be another True King. There's just a lot of different ways to get 2 or more level 9s on the field, and once you do have it out there, it is very hard for your opponent to come back from it.
Yeah.
Alright, you're up.
So my turn. Ash Blossom and Joy Spring.
Yep.
So, talked a lot about this card. Very popular. I'm a big fan of it because it's another card we can use to sort of disrupt the opponent when we haven't had a chance to go yet. So when your opponent wins the die roll, for example, like you did, I have this Ash Blossom and Joy Spring in my hand, spring into action.
Doesn't stop True King of All Calamities.
Yeah. Unfortunately, no. Yeah, on that topic, it's not as like high impact or oppressive as some cards like Maxi. It's sort of just, it sometimes doesn't even trade for your opponent's card, right? Because you activate and negate the effect, but they still keep their card. Right? But still great against stuff like terraforming, things that, just one-time activation, you basically just get to negate and stop the effect completely. It's also huge because of the huge decks.
Yes.
Yeah. That grass looks greener. This is the best way to answer that. Even if your opponent goes first and draws it, if you have an Ash Blossom, you stop it, and I don't know. I've seen a lot of people lose to just 20 free cards in the graveyard, so it's pretty rough. And the fact that Ash Blossom lines up so well against everything because it can negate 3 different things, special summoning from the deck, sending from the deck, and adding from the deck.
Those are all really common game actions.
Exactly, yes. So it's something that lines up fine against everything, but isn't too powerful. And that's why I really like Ash Blossom.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm up next. So one of the things that Ash Blossom can really hose is Pendulum Call. But that doesn't stop me from trying to play Pendulum decks from time to time. And actually the one I really like right now is the Odd Eyes deck. And one of the things that it does right now pretty well is just burn your opponent out of the game.
Okay.
Odd Eyes Phantom Dragon, for example, is a monster that can hit you for 25 and then tack on another 2,400 for having Odd Eyes monsters in your Pendulum Zone. But sometimes that's not enough. What if you need even more damage than that? Performapal Gatling Ghoul has got you covered there. So it's a fusion of a Performapal and a level 5 or higher dark monster, like Odd Eyes Phantom Dragon, Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, Odd Eyes Persona Dragon. When this is fusion summoned, you burn your opponent for 200 times the number of cards on the field. Then, if you used a Pendulum monster as one of its materials, as you should, you get to take out one of your opponent's monsters as well, and then burn them for its attack points. And if you do all that in main phase 1, it's got 2,900 more for you.
Yeah, it's easy to finish them off during the battle phase.
It is. And so you need a Performapal for that, right? Well, what if you had a Performapal that also works as a fusion card?
What a
and
deal.
Maximum Crisis actually has something like that as well. Form of Pal Yugo Golem, turn that it is, in the main phase, during the turn that it was Pendulum summoned, you can fuse it with other monsters you control, like Odd Eyes monsters. Fusion summon a monster. Alright, you're up.
Yep. So speaking of pendulums, I'm not the biggest fan of pendulums. I like to destroy them. Cards like Tornado Dragon help me do that.
Oh boy, yeah,
Yeah.
he does.
So Tornado Dragon is just a generic rank 4, takes 2 materials, and can destroy spell or trap cards during either player's turn. So it's very powerful. We've seen cards like Diamond Direwolf play a similar role,
Yes.
just to be used as spell and trap card destruction, but you end up having to destroy your own Diamond Direwolf most of the time unless you're playing a deck that includes the types that Diamond Direwolf can destroy. We've also seen Super Quantum Mech Grand Pulse.
Yes.
Right, yeah,
Rank
that was
3.
the rank 3 option that sort of had this effect. But the fact that every deck now it just gets a generic way to destroy spell and traps, disrupt pendulum cards, disrupt cards like Fire Formation Tenki, Zodiac Barrage, all these
Dragonic
just
Diagram.
powerful, especially Dragonic Diagram, just all these powerful spell and trap cards that need to stick on the field. And Tornado Dragon does that. It answers one during your turn, one during your opponent's, so they can't get back in the game. And the fact that I don't need to draw my spell and trap card removal anymore, and I just need 2 level 4 monsters and some of this extra deck monster makes it especially powerful.
That's big, keeping them all in the extra deck.
Yeah. So, big fan of Tornado Dragon.
Alright, back to me. I've got Fairy Tale Luna. So I know a lot of players are very intimately familiar with the Fairy Tale monsters, particularly Fairy Tale Snow.
Yes.
Being so devastating in decks featuring Grasslix Green or just a lot of Lightsworn. I really like the whole Fairy Tale series because I think they did an excellent job of conveying the actual storylines of the tales that these are coming from in the card mechanics. And I think Fairy Tale Luna actually does that the best of any of them. She is based on Princess Kaguya from The Tale of the Bamboo Cutter. And this card, I think, gets the 3 elements of that story right. The gold piece in every bamboo shoot, the unreasonable demands, and then in the end returning to the moon. So Luna, when you normal summon her, gets you an 1850 attack spellcaster from your deck to your hand, just like all the other Fairy Tale monsters. During either player's turn, and this is pretty unreasonable, you can just target one of your opponent's monsters, say, okay, you have to send another copy of that monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard, or else both go back to the hand and return.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful.
And one of the things is, with extra decks in particular, people try to get as much variety
Yeah.
in there as possible. Now, that might not see quite so much of that. There might be a lot more doubles of key cards once we see more of True King Lithosagem, because of its ability to strip those cards out of the extra deck. But if you're just playing 15 different monsters to get as much variety and value out of it as possible, Fairy Tale Luna is going to mess you up.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like even just forcing your opponent to send the card from their deck to the graveyard rather than mount it is pretty disruptive. Like a card like Zodiac Rapier, for example.
Yes.
You need your additional copies. You're either going to bounce your Rapier or you're going to send your extra one and then can't do much.
It's not good either way.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. On the topic of Zodiacs, Zodiac Chicanine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love this one. So with the semi-limiting Zodiac Wrap here, combos got a little smaller. You usually had to do something extra to get that level 4 into play so you can do more things. Zodiac Chicanine does that for you. Right. So normally it would bring it back, can't be used as an Exceed material, has its effect negated. But the way to get around that is you bring back a card like Zodiac Ram Ram, and then stack a Zodiac Dryden on top of your Chicanine, and then destroy your Ram Ram. Yep, and that will cause its effect to trigger, and then you can bring back a Zodiac that doesn't have the limitations on Exceed summons, and you can go from there.
Another thing was Whiptail. You can put out Whiptail, wait for the negation to run off at the end of the turn, and then just quick effect it onto whatever your monster
Yeah, that's also a big thing. Yeah, and there's also additional enablers too, like Zodiac Barrage and things. You could destroy your Ram Ram like that if you don't want to Dryden. There's also cool combos with another Zodiac Exceed from the set, Zodiac Hammer Kong. So you can do things like bring back Zodiac Hammer Kong after you've used it just during your Broadwell combo or whatever you want to do. And normally Hammer Kong is very Exceed material intensive in terms of resources because you have to detach one every end phase.
Every end phase.
Yes. But if you negate with Chicanine, normally, okay, so now you have this Exceed monster that's negated, doesn't have any materials though, but then you can stack a Tiger Mortar on top of your Chicanine and use Tiger Mortar's effect, detaching material from Tiger Mortar to put a material on Hammer Kong. And that's something we don't see too often, Tiger Mortar putting a material on another monster, but it's a way to put a material on Hammer Kong, so then during the end phase, its effect's still negated, but during your opponent's turn, its effect comes back online, so you get the additional protection from Hammer Kong.
Very nice.
Yeah. So, love Zodiac Chicanine.
Alright, I got Ultra Polymerization. So, Super Polymerization came out way back when in Fan of Darkness was Super Polymerization, but it was a rare.
Yes.
So I bet a lot of people thought that Ultra Polymerization would be a super. Surprise.
It's a secret rare.
We've got all the rarities covered now,
Nice.
except for common. We'll have to think about what to do about that in the future. But effect-wise, ultra polymerization, you pay 2,000 life to fusion summon a monster from your extra deck using 2 monsters that you control as the materials, and that can't be chained to, like the super polymerization. But the real value in ultra polymerization is that you can then banish it from your graveyard to target your fusion monster and bring back the 2 cards that you fused with ultra polymerization. Their effects are negated, their attack and defense goes to 0, but that's fine because you're essentially using ultra polymerization to turn your 2 monsters into both a fusion and either an Xyz or Synchro monster. So what are the coolest things you can do with this? Well, the first place my mind went to was use 2 Cyber Dragons. You use 2 Cyber Dragons, you make Cyber Twin Dragon, then you bring back the Cyber Dragons to use Nova and Infinity.
Yeah.
Eat your opponent's monster with Nova and then double attack and just wreck them all in one turn.
Yeah.
But that's not the coolest thing
Definitely not.
you can do with it. What's the coolest? Dark Magician and Buster Blader. Fuse them up into a Dark Paladin, then bring them back and stack them up for Ebon Illusion Magician.
Yeah. Yugi would be proud.
And then you can just attach material to get another Dark Magician from your deck and just go to town. Because you're going to get to banish your opponent's card when you attack with Dark Magician, which will cause a replay, or just get their last monster out of the way so you can direct attack for quite a bit.
Yeah, I think that's just 100 shy, right, of 8,000.
It depends on how many dragons they have.
Oh, yeah, so it could just be game right there.
If they got a dragon, then you're good.
Yeah.
So
That's especially
ultra polymerization is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Speaking of fusing things, so Predaplant offers Scorpio. Doesn't quite fuse things on its own, but when it's summoned, you can activate its effect, discard a monster, special summon a Predaplant from your deck, and the Predaplant you're getting is Predaplant Darlingtonia Cobra. And so when Darlingtonia Cobra is special summoned by the effect of a Predaplant, you get to add a Polymerization or Fusion spell card from your deck to your hand. So cards like Instant Fusion, Brilliant Fusion, great obviously to search. It's a big combo enabler because this is a rank 3 right here off of just this, so you can make something like MX Saber Invoker, get a Zodiac Rapier from your deck, or just search a Brilliant Fusion and just start doing crazy things.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm a big combo guy. I love crazy combos, and I think that we will see a lot of Predaplant offer Scorpio if there's a right shelf for it. The biggest issue with it is the drawback discarding monsters, right? So your deck needs to have a lot of monsters enabled to enable it, but beyond that, it's a pretty powerful effect.
All right. So let's see. I've got one left, and that is Spiral Gear, fully armed. So we're also hit the end of the Spiral and the Subterror storylines as well. So we've got Spiral Gear fully armed. It's a gear card, so you can search it out with Quick Fix. In fact, you can search a lot of them out with Quick Fix if you have machine duplication. And you can only control 1 on this thing either. So you can just pump your 1 super agent full of as many attack points as you want. But the key thing is, okay, so you get 1,000 attack points, and then when your Spiral Super Agent destroys a guy in battle, which is pretty likely because you're usually picking off spells and traps. I mean, Super Agent himself, he has to pick off a spell or trap, but a lot of times with Spiral Tough, you're also picking off a spell or trap card to clear the way for the rest of your monsters. But whatever monster you leave stranded, when he hits it, he banishes it, and he hits it so hard that you get to banish something else as well. And that second part doesn't target, so it's an interesting way to get around a lot of tough things.
Yeah.
And then if this gets destroyed, now this is a when you can effect, so you have to be careful with. But when it gets destroyed, you can special summon a Spiral Super Agent back from your graveyard, which triggers its effect again to take out another spell and trap card. Spiral fully armed is excellent equipped spell.
Yeah. Well, equip spells, continuous traps, pendulum monsters. I want none of it.
Oh no.
Unending Nightmare. Probably my favorite card from the whole set.
Oh, this card's just brutal.
Yeah, so you pay 1,000, basically whenever, as long as it's not in the same chain, destroy face-up spell or trap card. And, that sounds pretty open-ended because it is. You can disrupt anything. You think of cards like Anti-Spell Fragrance, combating pendulums and stuff like that, but this card does that sometimes even better. You get to destroy their pendulums. They never hit the field. The same thing we were talking about before, Fire Formation, Tinky, Zodiac Barrage, Diagram, all those cards susceptible to Unending Nightmare. You can also destroy your own cards, so if you want to do things like mistake your opponent or activate a Macrocosmos and then use this to destroy your own spell or trap, that works too. So there's just a bunch of really cool interactions you can do with it, and I could see this just being a side deck stable, similar to Danko Sekka, where it doesn't target the decks that are trying to set a lot, but the decks that want a lot of face-up spells and traps. Unending Armor is a good one.
Shocked if we don't see a lot of this card leading
Yeah.
up to the leading up to the WCQ and in WCQ.
Yeah, it's definitely a good one.
Excellent card. Well, I think that's it for both of us. We both
Yeah.
had our starting 5 out there. All right. Well, that'll about wrap it up for the Maximum Crisis starting hand. Thank you for joining us. If you want to see more, you can check out our YouTube channel, Yu-Gi-Oh! Or youtube.com/official Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG. Hopefully you're there right now. I don't know where else you'd be watching this. You can also follow us on Facebook at official Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG or on Twitter, Yu-Gi-Oh! _TCG. And there are also broadcasts of big tournaments over on the Twitch channel, especially European events at twitch.tv/official Yu-Gi-Oh! channel. Thanks for joining us.
See you next time.